Hello, Paper Cut here with another replay review. Today we're looking at Gamed Stars, a gold Roost player playing against the Malians. He posted on the AoE4 Reddit. He wants someone to look at this game because he didn't really understand what he should have done differently, or why, in his words, why the game felt so one-sided. Before we hop in, I think it's really important to name map and match ups to best understand like your play going in, because you're going to be most successful is when you're entering the game, you see the map, and you have an idea what you want to do, what your opponent and the opponent's strengths, and changing your plan based on your opponent. So for example, Hidden Valley is a small map. Not only is it small, it's very divided, because you can't cross over the sides unless you go all the way to your opponent's base, back to your base. So this is generally a big feudal rush map, because you can get to your opponent pretty quickly, and your opponent's resources are pretty cut off, because once you leave the confines of this square, all your resources are far out. So if you can hem your opponent in, it's hard for them to do anything. So you often see civs rush on this map. Now, against the Malians are an expert boom civ. If you allow them to get their pit mines up for passive gold, if you allow them to get their cow boom up and running, then they're really, really hard to beat. Even if you go 2TC. If you go 2TC, but the Malian player gets up a full cow boom, you guys are still pretty even resources. And he can lose villagers and still be going. So if you're trying to outboom the Malians, you almost have to do like a 3TC. But that's dangerous because that's a difficult macro to pull off, and you might get attacked before that pays off. My biggest suggestion as a Rus is you rush them. You go 1TC into a hard rush. You attack their pit mine. You just throw a whole lot of knights and archers at them. If they start putting out Sofa, then you put in spears. But I think you rush their gold, you tower their gold, you basically bring down, you tower their gold. You don't need to tower necessarily, but like pressure their gold so that they can't, because they need to do the pit mine gold to make cows gold. So the pit mine gold leads to them getting cows, which leads to them to be able to pump units. That's my suggestion. I'm going to see what your strategy is and works out for you. Good, I'm glad you didn't keep killing these deer. Your first scout should not be killing your closest deer. Okay, so first problem. Your opening. I like that you went out and started, flip-flop, killing those deer. Problem is that you did not get sheep back for your villagers, and now they're doing this long range gathering, which is really inefficient and really slow. What you should do is your first scout dives towards the enemy side. Second scout needs to gather all of the sheep around your base. So like ran up, come back, boom, ran up, come back, boom. So that your villagers aren't having to leave, because this is really not great. And then your third scout dives the other side. And that second scout, once they drop off the sheep, could have then killed this deer, start killing wolves, things like that. So first scout dive, second scout get sheep around the base, drop off, third scout dive other side, second scout clean up any wildlife around, would be my suggestion. I understand why you're Kremlining here. I honestly think you should Kremlin here. The Kremlin here protects gold, stone, initial wood line. And then if you're gonna if you really want to do 2 TC, your second TC would be on this deer and protect this deer and berries. And the reason you do that is because with the gremlins from the Kremlin, you can defend the drop of the second TC on the food. Instead, and also it's also an efficiency thing, right? If you're gonna go up with Kremlin and then immediately go stone, if you drop the Kremlin protecting the stone and gold, you're there immediately. So it's time saving. And you look at your opponent. So you scouted your opponent. He's already getting pit mine up. He's been gathering sheep, deer, which is really food efficient. What you need to, this is cheeky. This is good. I'm glad you're doing this. Keep bringing on his houses. But what you're looking for is, what is he dropping first? Is he going to go into heavy units? I guess he's going to do Donzos. Is he walling up? Because the key thing you don't want to let him get a wall up here. Like his first goal would be, if I was him, I would drop a barracks and then I would try to wall up here or wall up here to buy me some space, and make it so you have to attack on one side. And with your multiple scouts, you'd want to prevent that. You don't want to like put a scout here to stop them from finishing a wall. You're noticing some timing inefficiencies. You got your stone real fast, but you're behind on because you have to stable. So here's the question: was the stable worth it, or was rushing a tech and TC more worth it? I'm actually okay at the stable, honestly. Getting one knight here could you push him off deer, you'd push him off, you'd scare him off wood. So I'm actually okay with doing a really quick first knight actually. And you'll get the wood needed for the second TCO quickly. Where are you dropping this? On the gold. You have to, right? Because you did put the Kremlin here, so this TC has to go on gold. But as I said, I'd rather you switch this. Next thing you need to do, since you have secured with this knight, that's your map control basically. Until he's able to push your knight away and he's built up enough units, you've secured map control. The first thing you do is, so you have to decide, are you going to rush him right now, or are you going to rush castle? I'm still the proponent that you rush them, because you don't want them to you don't want to let their boom get to full extent. So to help that rush, to help like get the food necessary, you need one. You don't need this many on wood. You could, I mean, you want it once you get archers, but you need a lot of food now. You're going to be double producing villagers, and you want to make knights. So you should take 4 of these. You should take basically 8 of these wood villagers, run them over, and get this boar immediately. Immediately get the boar. Drop a wooden fortress, get the boar. You then rally more to wood. This one, you take half the villagers building this onto stone, onto gold. You rally to food here. You then get the deer, and now you're rallying to wood until you get to like 14. Drop 2 archery ranges, and you're doing knights and archers. So like you need two stables, 2 archer ranges, and you are going. Would be my suggestion. Okay, also this is key too. This is a good catch. You notice what should happen now is your knight. Oh yeah, your knight should, once your knight gets pushed off here, you're running up and you're stopping this pit mine. Like this pit mine should not get up, should not be defended. It's wide in the open. You do not let him get this, and then you have to ask yourself, he needs a second pit mine. He needs the gold to get the cows up. So his other option is this one. So the first thing you should do is send either an archer or a knight to just sit on this gold mine. Because the thought process is, if I'm pressuring my opponent, where does he have to go for resources? Look at the map. You've scouted the entire map. Prepare that. Send 1 or 2 military units here just to be ready to cut them off. Good. Okay, there's a waste. Look. Not a waste. That's harsh, but your opponent is not stopping you yet. He has villagers right here. You have a knight. He has a villager right here. Your knight should be continuously hitting, walking back, until he has Donzas on you. And then you're running up and killing the villager that's up here. He's right now rushing you with 3 warrior scouts. As long as your units are not away from the TC, they're fine. This would be a good time to just call a set of gremlins, run out, and try to kill these guys. Or just put a bunch of put your units in the TC, it's outside the TC. Just call a group of gremlins and go get them. Don't drop a barracks yet. This is kind of a fate. A mass of knights will beat a warrior scout. The warrior scouts dive, then gremlins kill that. I'd rather you not go spears until you actually see sofa. Okay, there's sofa. Never mind. Spears is fine. No, you saw this. Go up here. Go up here. Look at this. Use your scouting to make the best call here. Let's get your resources. You're currently producing 2 archers. Okay, you just got 20 on food right now, but I want you to look at the efficiency of your food. Berries gets you nothing. Is the worst. Berries is the least efficient food source, followed by farms, then deer, then boar. So you need to get on the boar. As one, it's good for maybe potentially getting bounty down the road, but you need to get on the boar. That will help you immensely with your food. And look at this. You have too many villagers on deer, on sheep, so they're just standing here. So this is a waste. My suggestion is you get on board and then wall up down the center here, or already kind of claim the space. You could even YOLO down and take his deer down here, because he's going to try to avoid leaving his base. You could go down, just YOLO, take the deer down here, potentially. You also have this deer over here. But your food inefficiency is costing you, because you can't get knights out right now. Like, look what he has. He has Sofa, 4 warrior scouts, and 3 donzos. So you need out way more knights. You need 3 or 4 knights and more archers, and you win that fight. Your knights are better than his Sofa. Your knights are much better than his warrior scouts. Okay, good. Okay, you push now. Push now. What are we waiting for? Okay. Second thing. This is a big bugaboo of mine. This is something I notice a lot of players at Gold Elo do. Where you look, you have wood, and you go, farm time, baby. I'm just going to build farms. One, ask yourself, do you have enough production for your current resource amount? You're going 2TC, which means you're going to quickly explode with resources. Right now, you can almost double produce out of most of your production if you want to. So the first thing you should do with extra wood is drop production. But you are the aggressive Civ. What I'm trying to get at is farms are inefficient and they cost wood. Wood that could be archers, that could be more production, that could be walls, but most importantly just units. Instead you're putting them on a food source that is yet to be efficient until you get upgrades. When you still have a boar, where you still have deer. Take the resources that are more efficient. And second, look at how you've split your villagers. 15, so this is a big issue a lot of time where, and this is an issue that you struggle with all the way up. Like macro is really hard, but how do I split my villagers to maximize my resources? You want to ask yourself, what is my goal? What am I trying to do? Are you trying to fight in feudal? You need units. What units are you getting? You're getting archers that require a lot of wood, and you're getting knights that require a lot of food and a lot of gold. But how much gold? So every minute you need to ask yourself, how is my resource splits looking based on what I'm trying to do? I need to make units. 60 on gold. I don't need this much on gold. I right now don't have the food to make enough knights for this gold to be worth it. 14 on gold or 15 on gold is like you are rushing castle. But you should be getting all your eco upgrades. You need double broad axe if you want to get the archer amount that you need. But in reality, you're wasting this gold because you're not using it. You can't use it. You don't have the food to build more knights, and you don't have the wood to get more upgrades. I'm sorry, I think my dog's about to bark. So what needs to happen is you need to adjust your splits. Key, if you want to make archers consistently, you need at least 8 on wood. And that's if you're mostly just making archers consistently and wanting to get more production. You need like 15 or 16 on wood right now. So you can drop a second archer range and mass archers, because really, massing archers is your biggest success here. He can't really mass sofas yet. He doesn't have the food. He hasn't had the cows up yet. So he can't make very many sofas. He's going to be matching warrior scouts. Warrior scouts would be ripped apart by a good archer mass. He's making donzos ripped apart by a good archer mass. If he gets javelins out, that's a problem. But javelins, a massive archer against a massive javelins actually does okay, because javelins overkill a lot on accident. Overkills mean they hit too much on one target. So still, I would just try to get massed up knights and archers, but your villager splits is what's holding you back. You should only have like 8 on gold right now until you get a second stable, and then you want to add more gold. So the idea is like, as I add more production, then I add more villagers to the resources that I need to make that. Avoid making farms until you're on your like second to last food resource. So once this deer and these berries are starting to run out and this boar is gone, then you start making farms. But to make farms, to make units, you need a lot more on wood. Overall, I just don't like your villager splits. You're putting way too much on gold. You need to drop a market, really. Now you go out to this deer. Now you're getting more on wood. Now you're fixing it. But look, now you have a lot of resources, but you don't have the production to make it. You should never be double to producing knights, really. If you can make more than 2 knights at a time, get a second stable down. If you can make more than 3 archers at a time, put another archer range down. You're hurting yourself because you're not getting out the amount of units you could have out right now. This is a nice wall, but I'd wall here. He's not pressuring you right now. Do the more aggressive wall, honestly, because you want to secure this boar and these relics for the future. But yeah, you should have way more units out. Look at this. You could produce 5 more knights, 6 more knights potentially. I'm not gonna do the math perfectly. You could have way more knights out right now. And those farms could have been the production. Go. At this point, you gotta go. Aggressive high trade house. Because if you lose a fight and you have to retreat, this is donezo. This is why I'd rather have you doing a wall here. Allows you to plop the high trade house here, which is much safer. If you want to be super safe, you put it here, but you didn't set up to do that. So here, with the wall across here, while you're pushing on this side, is your best bet. Kill. Good catch, you're fine. The key's gonna be this fight here. Okay, so look what, okay, he just rushed castle. So here's what I mean. He didn't even do a proper cow boom. But here's what I mean. Right? Work with me on this. He was able to do that. Let's actually look at unit splits. So you have 23 units. He has 30. He macroed a little bit better than you, honestly. He got some cows up. He's got, I don't like the farms, but he's doing them. But really what allowed him to do this was that you let him get up these pit mines. He's about to get this one up, but you let him get up these 2 pit mines. Because if you think about it, these 2 pit mines plus his Manticore allow him to basically put no villagers on gold. He's had all his villagers on wood and food, which then allows him to make these units to fight you. He has so many javelin throwers and donzos, and allowed him to still get castle. You going 2 TC and your current resource splits, now you have 28 on wood. Why do you have 28 on wood? Oh, because you're out of, but you still could get this boar. So the point being is, you now are behind because your villager splits all over the place. You're not quite ready to go to castle. Now you have to make a farm transition. But, here. He's actually doing just as well as you, with less. That's the power of the Malians. Which is why you have to kind of either go super greedy or go right at them immediately. 2 TC can work, but you have to be better about your villager splits, making units and going quickly. You took too long to make units and to get in there. And now he's up and now you're in a really bad spot. And since he has more units than you, your best bet is to retreat and you have to hold. But you don't have the military to do it. This is also a lack of scouting. Something you need to do is if you're unsure if you should go in because you don't know if you have the units, make a scout from one of your TCs or from stables and just go look. Run a scout in. If your scout dies, if you see he has a huge military, you go, ooh, I should not go in there. But you gotta retreat and hold. And this is why your high trade house is now in a bad spot. And then you kind of lost your units. Now you're stuck feudal. Because also this map does not have a lot of food resources, honestly. So you can run through your food pretty quickly. Malians, on the other hand, don't need to use the side food resources as much. They can go heavy on wood and get farms and get cows and get free gold to get those things, and they just don't have to use the outside resources as much. They're much more compact. So that's why your options really to me are either super greedy, go 3 TC, add farms quickly, you're just defending and then you're trying to push back when you have more resources. But on this map that's really hard, there's not a lot of space. Or 2, you go 1 TC feudal all in, you're trying to kill that first pit mine, don't let them expand to the second pit mine, keep them boxed in, bleed them with resources. If you do 2 TC, it's possible, but you have to be really good about maximizing your resources, spending them quickly into units, and getting there fast. I think at this point, it's going to be kind of just a bleed through. Yeah, it's a slow walk down. Gremlins. Something you could have done too, since this map is so small, when you first went in, you could have just called the gremlins when you first attacked. You could also use gremlins as scouts. You call 2 gremlins, send them in, see what their military's like. That'll buy you some time, but once again, you're stuck in feudal. The mass archers isn't going to win you this. You're still paying for not claiming space earlier. You're honestly pretty lucky he switched to archers. But his veteran archers are going to rip through your feudal archers. Now you're low on gold. That's funny. Can you mine if there are pit mines on it? Oh my god. That's really funny. Adapt, live, survive, advance. Yeah. That's just a slow bleed. So yeah. Overall, the reason you felt behind is because you were behind. 2 TC against Malians is difficult. I would suggest either a hard feudal rush or super greed. If you're going to do 2 TC, just reiterating, you have to be efficient with your villagers. What are you trying to make? Are you trying to just mass knights? Food and gold. Are you trying to get archer mass with some knights in the front? More on wood. Get down multiple archery ranges. You need to stop being inefficient with your villager movements and focus on the things you want to make. In every match, ask yourself, did my resources end up the way I want? What do I need to tweak with my villager counts based on my goal? Are you using the resources around the map effectively? You gotta get the boar as the roost. You gotta get the boar. You have to get the deer. Use your early map control with your knights to claim those resources, which then power you to get even more units out. Claim space. Use your walls to claim more space. And use those knights to do raids. Like, keep your knights together, yes, but if you're fighting one knight going the opposite way into the back of his base, could have killed 3 or 4 villagers before he realized. So use your knights as powerful raiding tools while still fighting, would be my other suggestion. But that's it from me. Hope that was helpful to you. If you're ever interested in private paid coaching, message me on Discord. Description's in the video at the bottom of the page. You know what I mean. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me questions. And good luck on your future games.